Greetings and welcome to Tabloid Talk, brought to you by Tabloid TV, a show where we unpack the important stuff. I am Muhammad Ismail. Like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below and the bell icon to ensure that you get a notification every time a new video is added. We start the show with some sad news, and that is the demise of a community leader and activist. Satish Tupelia, a well-known man in the Durban community. He succumbed last week after a short illness. Messages of condolence poured in from far and wide, including the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, among many others, for this great-grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. Tabloid newspapers this week pays tribute to a man who has left a huge void to fill. We pray for the family's strength during a trying time. In this week's show, we speak to another icon and activist. Having won his first competition at the age of 9, nothing got in his way to pave the path to become internationally recognized. His work speaks volumes, from paying tribute to community leaders to his political satire that earned him the criticism of many, including former President Thabo Mbeki. Yet he was honored by another president, Nelson Mandela, for his contributions through his pencil. This too, along with several international and national awards. I'm talking about one of South Africa's greatest cartoonists, Nanda Soobben. He and his team has also produced a 2021 calendar commemorating the 160 years of the arrival of Indians as indentured laborers to South Africa. We are giving away a few calendars to our viewers. More details at the end of the show. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Tabloid Talk with me, Muhammad Ismail, an award-winning cartoonist with flair and activist who tells his story through his drawings, sometimes controversial, sometimes heartwarming, and always funny. He began his career in 1980 at the Post and became the first black South African cartoonist to be employed by a mainstream newspaper when he was taken on as a full-time editorial cartoonist in 1985. Today he runs his own Center for Fine Arts, Animation and Design in Durban, from where his students have become leading professionals in their field. In 2007, he was awarded the United States Congressional Award for Outstanding Achievement by Nancy Pelosi, an Amnesty International Award for using his cartoons to tell the truth, and a Certificate of Honor from the City of San Francisco, among others. Today we give him a warm Tabloid Talk welcome, the renowned cartoonist Dr. Nanda Soobben, internationally recognized, and I have the honor of welcoming you to our Tabloid Talk program.
Nice
Welcome.
To be here.
Thank you. Looking like a revolutionary with that beret. You posted on Facebook a while back that you forgot your beloved beret in the taxi in Brazil.
I lost my beret in Rio during the World Cup.
Yeah, I remember that. And
left it in the taxi.
You are heartbroken about that beret.
Yeah.
It's a signature. It seems to be your signature and your image wherever you go. Yeah. People recognize you, whether you're walking in the street. Yeah. Your beret speaks for itself. You speak for yourself as you walk around. People recognize you. Just earlier, before we started the show, you said there was a car guard who just recognized you. Say, hey, you Nanda Soobben.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
It feels good. Nice to be recognized. As long as you don't owe people money. So.
How did you get into the field of becoming a cartoonist? Was it your career choice?
I was a natural artist. Becoming a cartoonist was because of apartheid. One of the things that really moved me was forced removal. When we were evicted from our homes and had to move out, then I became a cartoonist. It was something, I did not think that I'm going to grow up one day and become a cartoonist. I could draw well. I won an art competition when I was 9 years old.
That's very young.
Yeah.
I can still draw images, just sticks and, those kind of images. Your cartoons indeed tell a story, Nanda. Yeah. And how do you conceptualize a particular cartoon? Or do you just wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to draw this? Or is it more sort of involved in terms of your thoughts and your thinking in what message you want to get across?
Yeah, I'm asked that question all the time. And sometimes when I look at some of my cartoons lying on the floor of my office, I wonder how I got that idea. But the ideas come about based on what is happening. and you start to unravel what is happening. You know, I mean, if you look at Donald Trump, there's lots of guys sitting in pubs can come up with a Donald Trump joke, which is good enough for a cartoon, but they don't really realize that. They would say something, look at Trump, or say something funny, which could be a cartoon. Now, I think like that all the time, but I'm not drunk. I'm sober. When I see something, I can figure out, why is this guy? It's like now he wants to withdraw from Iraq and Afghanistan. And I'm thinking, why can't he withdraw from the White House? You know, you think like that, but then you get more involved, and the idea develops. You can get a very basic joke, and you can turn that into a serious idea.
Some of your most controversial drawings, what has that been? The most controversial?
The most controversial, there were lots of controversial cartoons, but some of them caused problems for me. There was one where I had the Guptas putting a finger up Zuma's butt, and Zuma giving us 2 fingers.
This is not a comedy show, but that was funny.
But they put a finger up at me because I got into a lot of trouble.
Did you do a cartoon about yourself with a finger?
No.
Sorry. You've received several awards nationally and internationally, right? Tell me a little bit more about those awards, please.
Locally, I received a heritage award. It took me a long time to win an award. Not many people knew me besides the Indian people who read the local Indian newspapers. I got awards overseas before I got awards in South Africa.
What catapulted you to that point of getting awards from international organizations? Even in the US, we spoke about that international award earlier. Why first overseas as opposed to South Africa?
Because my talent was recognized overseas and not here. Because here I was a coolie cartoonist. You know, I wasn't good enough because I was Indian. You know, our ability is based on our color, not on our skin tone. If you look at Gary Player and you look at Papua, Papua was the best golfer in the world at that time, but he never had the opportunities. Gary Player won the Masters, he won the US Open, he came to Durban and he was beaten by Papua. And it goes to show that Papua wasn't good enough because of his color, not because of his ability. And that's a problem that I had. People ask me, how come everyone knows Zapiro and they don't know you? Well, Zapiro was working for the mainstream newspapers, he had a platform. And I didn't have that platform. I was working for an Indian ethnic newspaper.
One of your highlights must have been that you were recognized by the late, great Nelson Mandela. You also presented him with a cartoon or caricature, what you've drawn about. That must have been a defining moment for you in your career.
The cartoons were actually bought by Anand Singh and presented to Mandela on his birthday, his 77th birthday.
But that was a defining moment for you to be recognized at that level.
Yeah, okay, the first cartoon that Mandela got from me was when he was released from prison. And I did a cartoon of de Klerk going overseas and Mandela going to Chatsworth. They were trying to, you know, it's like Biden and Trump. You know, Biden was doing things online because he did not want people to be affected and stuff like that. Mandela went locally to project his image because it was during the negotiation. So I did a cartoon on that, and that was given to Mandela at independent newspapers. But later on, for his birthday, Anand Singh had bought all my Mandela cartoons and presented it to him.
You're an activist, and just by looking at you with your beret, it tells a story itself. Nanda. And
I did not intend becoming an activist. I just did what was natural.
Like drawing, just natural, and you do it. And
yeah.
Your cartoons have been controversial, no doubt about that. And a lot of it is based on politics, a lot of political satire, and that. Have people sort of got the message in terms of what you were trying to get across? And how is community perception been And have you been a victim at any time of any sort of political kind of victimization in your career?
I had lots of, from people who call themselves activists, they would tell me, well, previous to that, I was called a coolie cartoonist and things like that. But later on during, not Mandela's time, not Thabo Mbeki's time, even Thabo Mbeki didn't like me. One of my cartoons was...
You said Thabo Mbeki didn't like you?
No.
Was he like vocal about it that he didn't like you?
He didn't like my cartoons, especially the ones I did on HIV and stuff like that. He was, you know, his idea of HIV was different to what the scientists were saying, more like what Donald Trump is saying about
the coronavirus, yeah.
The virus, yeah. One Indian guy purchased one of my cartoons of Becky when Becky first became the president. I had big shoes, and Thabo Mbeki trying to get into the big shoes, and he was basically drowning in it. And that was presented to him, and he got angry when he saw that cartoon. And it's a cartoon that you wouldn't present to Becky himself, you know, but that's what they did. And he wasn't very pleased about it. He took it and he just dumped it like that.
Which politicians then like you? Can't think of anyone.
Yeah, no, it's hard to think of one. But let me tell you about, there are lots of activists, ANC activists and guys who were in the UDF, Indian guys. They would tell me, why are you always picking on Zuma? And then suddenly when Zuma got into trouble with state capture and everything, I went to a function where they were auctioning one of my paintings. It wasn't a cartoon, it was a painting. And these guys were trying to patronize me there. I said, so what? I confronted the guy and I told him, so what do you think about Zuma now? And he started, you know, just mumbling something. And he was saying that, one day he asked me, do you know who brought you freedom? I said, oh, who brought me freedom? I said, it wasn't the guys fighting in the border. It was the sports boycott. It was the sanctions. We did not win. He said he was the MK and stuff like that. I said the MK did not bring us freedom. The battle was, we got freedom to negotiations, and a lot of money changed hands where the so-called poverty-stricken activists became billionaires overnight. That's how we got our freedom.
Absolutely, and you're also involved with the 1860 Heritage Center at a point, Nanda?
I was on the board, yeah.
And you're not doing any work with them except...
I do some work with them, but they get, what actually happens is, there seems to be just one party involved there. You know, and I'd like to see other people involved, whether it's the IFP or even the DA. I still think they racist, or it's like an ANC function when you go to the 1860.
Just to go back to your cartoons and your paintings, it tells a story. It's historical. And I would think that, you know, getting your cartoons from 1985, from when you really started, 1980 early, and bringing it to modern day, that has to be pictorial evidence of how South African history has developed.
My cartoons are a timeline of South African history.
Do people understand that? Are they getting the message? That's what I want to sort of...
Yeah. I can actually, when people talk about things and they misconstrue the truth by saying, no, this is how it was, I'll tell them, no, it didn't, because I did a cartoon on it and I know the truth. You know?
Emerging black cartoonists in South Africa, few and far between.
Yeah.
You said earlier they're not getting the platform because of color. How do we change that? And I'm sure there are many, many others whose portrayal of history, portrayal of their communities are not getting published. What's the contributing factors?
I trained I trained and mentored the first black cartoonist in this country. I used to be a black cartoonist, but when we were black, I'm not black anymore.
So what are you now?
Well, I was Steve Biko black.
Proudly coolie?
I'm proud to be a coolie.
That's been coming up a lot lately with this agency.
Coolies are workers, so I'm proud to be a worker.
But just to go back to the question about the emerging black cartoonists in South Africa, they're not being seen.
Recently, they have been seen. The one that I trained, or mentored, Yellow at the Sowetan, Wilson Gabozi at independent newspapers, Kapsen Gadi at Izolizwe, Nati at the Citizen. I actually fixed Nati the job at Citizen.
Well, you've tutored and churned, as you're saying, you've trained a lot of black cartoonists and that, but just a little bit about a career in arts, animation, or the fine arts and cartoons. Why our youngsters, the modernist youngsters, not looking, or are they looking at that as a sort of a career, as a stepping stone to greater success? Because it's an absolutely wide field in terms of what you're teaching. And how is the sort of perception been about that as a field of study and career?
The thing is, there was art education in this country was 100 years behind the times. Until I came and changed the whole art education by integrating fine art with graphic design and animation. And I also brought one of the first Apple Macs to this country. And then I was training graphic designers who were doing graphic design and coming to me to learn how to use a Mac in my living room. And my living room got so busy that I had to open the school. Mm-hmm. But I integrated fine art with graphic design and animation, and it gave people more avenues for their careers. They could become animators, they could become graphic designers, they could become web designers, they could become cartoonists, they could become painters, all with just one diploma.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You've come out with or your center has come out with a beautiful calendar commemorating the 1860 heritage, designed by one of your students, conceptualized. A little bit more about how that came about, the conceptualization on it, what is on the calendar, and what are we are going to be putting that up on the screen a little bit later so people can see. A little bit more about that calendar and how historical is that calendar?
Well, the calendar started with me putting up my cartoons in the calendar. And then last year, Steve Fattar died. And I tried to honor him because Steve Fattar was the greatest rock musician in this country. But no one recognized him. And my calendar was at the printer, just about to be printed. I said, hold on, I'm putting a Steve Fattar painting in it. I put it in, it had such a good response that I thought every year I'm going to do the same thing, put some people who are unrecognized. Because at my school I used to have an award called the Too Little Too Late Award, for the same reasons, that people don't get recognized for the work that they do. So I had a few paintings, and then I thought maybe this year, because it's 160 years, nothing was happening, maybe I can put some of these people in the calendar, maybe 2 or whatever with my cartoon. And then I found out that there were lots more. First I started off with Srini Modley and Sats Cooper, and then I left them out because I thought there were so many activists, I can't put 2 and leave out the rest of them. So I left them out because I want to do an exhibition with all the indentured activists who brought freedom to this country during the new year. So what I did was, there were other great people. I mean, Navi Pillay was the judge of the United Nations Human Rights judge. Kumi Naidu, he was head of Greenpeace. I mean, you don't get higher than that in those fields. And then I had Aziz Asim, I had Valia Madaf, who died when she was detained. I had Shana Pillay, who was the star of the African Follies. He was married to Maria Makeba, and he died unknown. And no one, even the TV, SABC or whomever, never even did a thing about it. And then I did Daramon, the greatest footballer this country has ever produced, I put on Papua, the world's best golfer at that time. He could have been the greatest golfer in the world forever, and he'd been given a chance. And then Amal Sultan, who came here as an indentured laborer. He saved his money, and he opened small businesses, and he used that money for education, which is there for everyone to see.
Well done on that one. Apart from just being a passionate cartoonist, you also have a passion for food.
Yeah.
Indian food especially.
Durban curry.
Durban curry. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and all our viewers on YouTube and Facebook. Dr. Nanda Soobben, an internationally recognized cartoonist. Too little, too late. Don't waste your time. Explore your talents. Thank you for watching this segment. We will be right back. Stay tuned. There you have it. Don't wait until it's too late. Go out there and make your voice heard through your work. Nanda Soobben has fought the odds as an activist and has been the target of many, and yet he never wavered. For Nanda, the struggle continues through his fabulous and controversial work. It is time now to give away those calendars. We have a few stunning Nanda Soobben calendars right for you right here on this show. To our YouTube subscribers, all you have to do is tell us what made Nanda Soobben so controversial. Post your answers in the comment section below. The competition closes on 15 December. Tabloid Talk promotes social responsibility, and we again advise you to stay safe as the threat of a second COVID-19 wave looms. The threat is becoming greater as we approach the holiday season. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest updates and like our Facebook page. Thank you for watching. I'm Mohammed Ismail. See you again soon.